Hello and Happy New Year to all my subscribers or anybody else who's watching this video. Yes, it's 2017 and I felt the need to get my channel kicked off with a video of some description, and actually there is a certain subject that I wanted to not go over again, but something that happened this time last year on the 10th of January that was kind of important for my bot buying in 2016, and that is of course the Tom Henson bot lot. Basically, I was offered the opportunity to buy a huge amount of Transformers, some 200 odd bots for 850 quid from another collector called Tom Henson, who had a huge collection himself of about 700 bots, and he was moving house and he needed to downsize his collection, and I knew him because I'd met him at the NEC Toy Fair and bought a few things off him there. And he also, at the time, he was a sales assistant in the Entertainer Toy Shop in the Leamington Town Centre, so he was at a local toy shop, and I got to know him that way. And he had this stuff, it was this bots that he'd been selling at the NEC Toy Fair, and he needed to shift them, and he didn't have the time to sell them individually, so he offered them to me for this amazing price. And it was a struggle for me to get the money together, but I managed it, and I bought the lot. Now, why did I buy it? Part of me wanted to buy a huge lot of Transformers, so that was part of the reason why I bought it, and there was a lot of bots in there that were duplicates of bots I've got in my collection, and there was also a lot of stuff in there that I hadn't got, that I wasn't sure that I wanted, and there was some bots in there that I did want. So I've had to sort through it. I've sold a bunch of bots, I've added a whole bunch of them to my collection, and I've got some bots left over that I'm going to have to deal with at a later date. But anyway, this happened exactly 12 months ago, and I'm not going to make a regular thing of mentioning this every year that it happens, but I just thought, just this once, I'm going to do a one-off anniversary video and say thanks Tim Henson for, offering me the opportunity to buy these bots. It greatly influenced my bot buying in 2016, and I thought, as a kind of a tribute to Tom Henson and buying the bot, I wanted to review one of the bots that I got as part of that collection. And it's this Transformers Dark of the Moon Deluxe Air Raid. Now, he's in his original packaging. I have opened it because obviously I'm going to review it. Got this guy this time last year, January the 10th, and I didn't at first with the Tom Henson collection. I kept it separate from my main collection. It was like a separate concern, and as the year went on, I sort of went through it, and a couple of occasions I added bots from it to my collection, but it wasn't until August the 4th that I decided to go through the lot, select which bots I wanted to keep, and add a bulk of them to my collection. And on that particular day I added 60 odd bots to my collection, and this was one of them. Now, I'd never actually heard about this toy. I didn't even know this toy existed. It was one of the figures that came out as a spin-off toy line from the movies, in this case Dark of the Moon, that weren't actually based on characters that appeared in the movie, but other Transformers that were they just threw out, for the sake of selling toys. And I didn't know they did this, and the thing that attracted me to him in the first place was his alt mode. So let's just have a look at that, shall we? Right, so here is Air Raid's alt mode, and it's an AWACS plane. It's those flying air traffic control radar planes that they use in war zones across the world. I mean, America's got the that big 4-engined one that they use in global conflicts, and obviously this is, I would say, looks like it's based on a 737 variant of the AWACS aircraft, but no such thing exists. There is a twin-engined AWACS aircraft that the Japanese military are using, but that's based on I think a 767. But it's interesting. It's a very interesting alt mode, and that's what attracted me to it in the first place. I mean, very, very unusual. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact it had that on it, it'd just be a passenger jet. As a planeformer, it's very good. It looks like a passenger jet. It's got nice paint apps. It's got twin engines. It's got, you know, the cockpit. It has got landing wheels. It's got a landing wheel there, and it's got some wheels that flip out. So it's got landing gear, which is good. You know, from the side profile, it looks like a plane. It hasn't got, you know, like big chunks of robot hanging off the bottom. One negative thing about the alt mode is it's got visible fist syndrome on the back, so it's sticking out the back. So that's a little unfortunate. But underneath, it's not too bad. I mean, there's quite a lot of moulded detail, and obviously there's the robot's chest plate sticking out. And you obviously have got the MechTech weapon, which is this thing here, which if you do that, it does that. And he also has, in his alt mode, he has pegging ports under the wings. So if you have a 5mm peg weapon, you can plug it under there and have him wielding big ridiculous weapons under his wings. The thing I like about this is, one, it's a passenger aircraft. It's basically a Boeing 737 type aircraft. And can you imagine how big this, if this is based on a passenger aircraft like a 737, can you imagine how big the robot would be for this thing? It'd be enormous. I know robots in the movies, especially in the cartoon series, did the old mass shifting thing, but I just wanted it because it's such an unusual alt mode, amazing looking thing, great little alt mode, very successful, and a great little bot. So let's get into the transformation. So you can pull off the MechTech weapon, like so, and obviously it does the thing. Now, like so many other MechTech weapons, it's great that it does that and turns into a gun, but because it's got a spring-loaded mechanism, it doesn't stay open. So if you want to hold it, if you want him to hold it as a gun, he can't, because it just springs back. Now we'll get to this later on in the review. Let's transform this guy. Now, he has got a very interesting, quite intricate transformation. It's kind of fiddly, but I'm going to do it on camera. I know sometimes you get awkward transformations. I'm not really keen on doing them on camera, but anyway, let's have a go. Start off with, let's fold them panels out there. And then there's some panels in the back here that you can fold out. Well, you can fold the wings up, I suppose, and make it a bit easier. So you fold them panels out there. Then start splitting the tail. And there's his arms. And then his legs are basically the back of the aircraft. So split them. Start folding them forwards. So, you know, it's kind of a panel former. You fold everything out. Right, okay. So that's jammed into there. So you pull this bit out. Then you fold the legs around to there. Then you take the shoulders. Oh, actually, bring the legs down like so for now, and then you bring the shoulders round like so. Then you get the arm into position. Now on this arm, the tail section of the plane, it just folds up and it's attached to his arm on this linkage. He hasn't got a right fist, he's just got this thing on his arms, and that becomes like a melee weapon on his left arm. Now he does have, well, let's do the legs. You just heel spurs and then fold the bits around the back. That's basically the legs. Then you have a kind of like an automorph thing. This piece here, you fold it up and then you see his head comes up. Now the instructions say you transform it like that for his backpack. I do it a slightly different way. You can jam this bit into his back. Hang on. Like so, but it looks a bit unsightly, I suppose, so let's do it the proper way. You can actually fold the wings up. And we're pretty much there. So there is Air Raid in his robot mode. You can take the mech-tech weapon. It does have a 5mm peg, and you peg it into his fist. And then you sort of manoeuvre it around so that it looks like he's holding a shield. Now, aesthetically, he's a bit awkward. He's kind of got very skinny legs and skinny arms. But there is something about this that I really, really like. And I think because he's got a shield and he's got this bit here, this melee weapon, which I suppose you could say it's an axe. And you look at his chest plate, he's got this beautiful golden sort of armour in the middle. And his head sculpt, very interesting. He's got this very large gold crest that goes off the top. He does have working light piping. Gives him a look of a gladiator, I think, you know, from ancient Rome. Gives you like a gladiatorial look. Very, very interesting, and I quite like that. Articulation. The head is on a mushroom peg and it rotates. Ball jointed shoulders. Has got this joint on the top, so you can mess around with it, but you don't really need to. Upper bicep swivel. He does have elbows. Obviously on this arm he's got that stupid double linked joint. On the other side he does have a fist that's... Is it ball jointed? Yes, it's ball jointed. And an elbow. Now, he doesn't have a waist joint because of the transformation, but what he does have, which is kind of interesting, his hips are on butterfly joints. Now, what this means is you can get this guy into sort of faux waist joint poses. You can sort of angle one joint one way and have one joint going the other, and you can make it look like he's got a waist joint even though he hasn't. So that's kind of interesting. It's no replacement for a waist joint, but it does give you the option of some extra articulation that otherwise isn't there, which is kind of interesting. He does have knees. I noticed, looking back on some of my reviews, I'm very good at missing out the knee articulation, so I thought I'd do it here. It does go sort of slightly over 90 degrees. And the foot, the front of the foot is fixed to the leg. You have got a little bit of movement in the heel spur, but not much. But given the aesthetic of this guy, you know, you can get some very, very interesting poses out of him. And I like him a whole bunch. I like the colour. He's, you know, nice paint apps, usual sort of plethora of moulded detail on the plain plastic parts and on the back of his legs and all that. You know, very nicely moulded. Nice looking head sculpt. He has got light piping. A decent bot all round, and a big surprise. Yes, he's got the mech-tech weapon, which doesn't lock in the open position, so you're more likely to, if you've got him posed, he'll be, you know, having it as a shield. So yeah, he was a surprise when I picked him up as part of the Tom Henson bot lot. Very much a surprise. I didn't realise this guy existed. Glad I added him to my collection and didn't sell him on, because he was a mint in box figure. I would have sold him. I would have got rid of him. You know, sold him at TF Nation last year. I didn't actually, even though I bought the guy this time last year, so I've had him for exactly 12 months, and I didn't add him to my collection until the 4th of August, and then I didn't actually open the package until Christmas Day, which was only a couple of weeks ago, and So I didn't actually get my hands on the mould until then. And yeah, he was a surprise. I really like him, and he was like that close to coming on my TF16 of 2016 list. He was an honourable mention if you've watched my long version. So yeah, I wanted to do a review of one of the Tom Henson bot lots, and this is the guy I chose. This is Transformers Dark of the Moon Deluxe Air Raid. He's quite a surprise, and as movie toys go, he's really cool and really awesome. So yeah, that's my first review of 2017. I'm going to be carry on with the KTRT reviews. I've ordered 2 more KTRT reviews. I've also ordered this month 2 third-party bots. My first Bad Cube bot, my first Fans Toys bot. I've got Speed Bump and Lupus on the way. I might do a review of Lupus, depends how complex the transformation is, because third-party bots, I could review a bunch of them, but because the transformations tend to be a bit complex and fiddly, I'm not really keen on doing that on screen. Especially, usually I like to review the bot as soon as I get it, and I don't get enough playtime on the bot to get used to the way it transforms and then be competent enough or confident enough to transform it on screen in a decent amount of time, instead of like faffing around and fiddling with it for 25 minutes. But anyway, yeah, there's another thing I'm thinking of introducing to my channel this year. I have mentioned it before about this character mould set collecting. I've been collecting certain character moulds, and I've completed a couple of sets, and I'd like to do an overview of those. I'm not sure how the video is going to work, but that's something I'm going to introduce to my channel this year as an occasional sort of series. And I'm bringing back the end of month bot hauls, so some people might be happy to hear that. I've got to slow down on the amount of bots I buy this year, because my collection is easily saturation point. I've got way too many bots. I'm struggling to find storage for the things now, so I need to slow down a bit. But that said, it's going to be another interesting year. There's already a whole bunch of bots that are coming out that I want to get. Titan's Return line is just surprising me with the things it's coming out with. I've just seen some teaser shots of is it wave 4 or 5 figures that are coming out, like Top Spin and Broadside and Croc and what was the other one, and Quake. So I basically want that entire wave. So yeah, start as you mean to go on. I've been TFR Wilders. Obviously this is review 98. It's going to be at review 100. I don't know what I'm going to do, if anything special for my review 100, but I will have to wait and see how it goes. So yeah, I've been TFR Wilderness. I will say farewell. Welcome to 2017, and I'll catch you next time. Ta-da.